The rain hammered the windshield like accusations as I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles white against the leather. "Ma'am, we don't host events like yours here," the manager had said over the phone that morning, his voice dripping with that false politeness that masked pure bigotry, as if my love for Jamie was some kind of stain on his pristine lobby. In that split second, with thunder cracking overhead like the universe itself was fracturing, I realized our dream wedding at the Whispering Pines Inn, the place where Grandma had spun tales of forever love during my childhood summers, was slipping away, not to the storm, but to the hate that still poisoned small-town America. I glanced at Jamie in the passenger seat, her face pale under the dashboard glow, those blue eyes I'd fallen for on a rainy college campus 4 years ago now shadowed with the kind of hurt that words couldn't mend. "Nadia," she whispered, her hand finding mine across the console, "we'll find another place. Our love isn't defined by their walls." But even as she said it, tears stung my eyes, because this wasn't just about a venue, it was about the legacy Grandma had left me, the one promise she'd made on her deathbed 2 years ago. "The pines will be yours, my girl, for the day you say, 'I do,' to the one who makes your heart sing." Little did I know, she'd woven that promise into something unbreakable, a secret thread pulling us toward redemption amid the wreckage of rejection. We'd met in the chaos of freshman orientation at UC Berkeley, back when the world felt like it was ours to conquer. I was the wide-eyed history major from a sleepy Oregon coastal town, hauling boxes into my dorm with dreams of unearthing forgotten stories. Jamie was the art student from Seattle, all effortless grace and charcoal-smudged fingers, sketching the Golden Gate Bridge from a hilltop as if she could capture its soul on paper. Our paths crossed in the campus cafe, where I spilled my overpriced latte across her sketchbook, and instead of anger, she laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a summer breeze, and said, "Looks like you've just added some abstract expressionism to my work. Care to collaborate?" That collaboration turned into late-night talks under the stars, her head on my shoulder as we debated everything from Frida Kahlo's unapologetic passion to the quiet revolutions hidden in history's margins. I told her about Grandma Eleanor, the fierce widow who'd raised me after Mom skipped town when I was 5, filling our creaky Victorian home with stories of bootleggers and suffragettes, always ending with, "Love, Nadia, real love. It doesn't bend to the world's rules. It rewrites them." Jamie shared her own scars. A father who disowned her when she came out at 16, a mother who sent birthday cards but never visited. In each other, we found the family we'd been starved of, a love that bloomed fierce and fast, like wildflowers pushing through cracked concrete. By junior year, we were inseparable, navigating the thrill of stolen kisses in the library stacks and the terror of introducing each other to worlds that weren't ready. My town, Harbor's Edge, was a postcard of white picket fences and Sunday potlucks, but beneath the salt air and lighthouse beams lurked the whispers that Eleanor's granddaughter, always a bit different. Grandma never flinched. She'd squeeze my hand at church socials and murmur, "They're scared of what they don't understand. Peddle. But you're a force." When I finally mustered the courage to tell her about Jamie during winter break, expecting the world to tilt, she just pulled out her old photo album, flipped to a faded picture of 2 women in flapper dresses arm in arm, and said, "About time you found your rhythm, Nadia. I've been waiting for this." Jamie and I built our life brick by brick after graduation. I landed a job curating exhibits at the Portland Art Museum, piecing together narratives of the overlooked, women like us, whose stories had been erased or sanitized. She freelanced as an illustrator, her bold lines capturing queer icons for book covers and murals that dotted the city's vibrant walls. We moved into a cozy craftsman bungalow on the east side, with a garden where Jamie planted lavender and I hung wind chimes that echoed Grandma's voice on breezy evenings. Our love was the quiet revolution. Lazy Sundays with pancakes and playlists of Joni Mitchell, road trips along the Pacific Coast Highway where we'd pull over to watch seals bask at dusk, her fingers tracing patterns on my thigh as the sun dipped low. But the proposal, that was pure magic, the kind that makes you believe in fate. It happened on our 4th anniversary, back at that Berkeley hilltop, the city sprawling golden below us. Jamie had blindfolded me, led me up the path with giggles bubbling between us, then unveiled a picnic spread. Cheese, wine, and a sketchbook open to a drawing of us as old ladies, gray-haired and hand in hand on a porch swing. "Nadia Eleanor Hayes," she said, dropping to one knee with a ring fashioned from twisted silver vines, her own design. "Will you rewrite the stars with me? Forever." I tackled her to the grass, sobbing yes into her neck, our laughter mingling with the distant hum of traffic, as if the world itself was cheering. Planning the wedding should have been joy incarnate, but reality clawed its way in like fog off the bay. We wanted the Whispering Pines Inn, that ivy-cloaked haven in Harbor's Edge where Grandma and I had spent every summer. Its grand ballroom, with chandeliers like frozen fireworks and views of the crashing Pacific, had hosted generations of coastal romances. Grandma had adored it. She'd even worked there as a girl, sneaking kisses with her own forbidden love, a story she'd hinted at but never fully told. "Book it for your special day," she'd urged on her sickbed, her voice a rasp but her eyes alight. "Promise me, Nadia. It's got a heart bigger than its bigots." We'd called months in advance, hearts buoyant. But the manager's email arrived like a gut punch. "Due to our traditional values and community standards, we regret we cannot accommodate your ceremony." Traditional values, code for "we don't serve your kind." The words blurred as I read them aloud to Jamie over takeout Thai, the apartment suddenly too small, the walls closing in. Protests erupted in my chest. Lawsuits, boycotts, the fire of every queer activist I'd studied. But Jamie, ever the peacemaker, wrapped her arms around me. "We don't need their blessing, love. We'll find a meadow, a rooftop, anywhere our vows can echo true." Yet the rejection festered, a shadow over our Pinterest boards and fabric swatches. My family, fractured as it was, offered mixed solace. Uncle Ray, Grandma's brother, grumbled about stirring up trouble, but wired us money for a new venue. Cousins texted rainbow emojis, but the distance in their words stung. Jamie's side was worse. Radio silence, save for a curt note from her mother. Prayers for clarity. In the quiet hours, doubt crept in. Was love enough when the world built walls around it? I dreamed of Grandma, her laughter fading into the inn's empty ballroom, whispering, "Hold on, pedal. The story isn't over." As spring unfurled into summer, we pivoted with forced grace. A justice of the peace in a Portland park? Too impersonal. A vineyard in the Willamette Valley? Picturesque, but it lacked the salt-kissed soul of home. Then, a letter arrived, handwritten, postmarked Harbor's Edge, the envelope yellowed as if it had traveled through time. My hands trembled opening it, the scent of lavender and old paper rising like a ghost. Inside, a single page in Grandma's looping script. "Dearest Nadia, if you're reading this, it's time. The Pines is yours. Reservation Eleanor 47, held since 1995. For the granddaughter who'd love without apology. With all my heart, Grandma." I stared, pulse thundering. 1995? I was 7 then, braids flying as we chased crabs on the beach, Grandma promising, "One day, you'll have a wedding here that shakes the stars." Had she known? Even then, with her sharp eyes and storyteller's intuition, foreseen the woman I'd become, the love I'd claim? Tears blurred the ink as I called the inn, voice steady despite the quake inside. Reservation under Eleanor Hayes. For Nadia Hayes and Jamie Riley. October 15th. The manager's pause stretched eternal, papers rustling like dry leaves. "That's impossible. We don't." A shuffle, then a gasp. "My God. It's here. Locked in the system. Non-refundable, ironclad. But policy." His voice faltered, the bigotry cracking under the weight of legacy. "I'll have to escalate this." Jamie found me on the kitchen floor, letter clutched like a talisman. "What is it?" she asked, kneeling, her touch grounding me. I handed it over, words tumbling. The secret booking, Grandma's foresight, a vow made decades before same-sex marriage was a whisper in America's ear. Jamie's eyes widened, then softened with awe. She saw us, Nadia, before we even knew ourselves. We held each other as sobs turned to laughter, the bungalow filling with light as if Grandma herself had flipped the switch. But triumph was fleeting. The inn fought back. Calls turned to emails, veiled threats of cancellation fees, community backlash. This could ruin us, the manager confessed in a late-night voicemail, voice laced with fear. Whispers spread through Harbor's Edge like wildfire. The prodigal granddaughter, the lifestyle choice, the desecration of tradition. Uncle Ray called, furious. Eleanor's gone soft in her grave. Don't drag her name through this. Even Jamie wavered one night, curled against me in bed, whispering, what if we hurt them? What if love's price is too high? I rose before dawn that day, driving the winding coastal road alone, windows down to taste the brine on my tongue. The lighthouse at Harbor's Edge loomed like a sentinel as I pulled into the inn's lot, gravel crunching under tires worn from too many escapes. The manager met me in the lobby, his face a map of creases, eyes darting like a man cornered. Miss Hayes, this is unprecedented. The board's in uproar, folks saying it'll drive away the church crowd. I met his gaze, channeling Grandma's unyielding fire. Unprecedented? My grandmother booked this 28 years ago, when gay marriage was a punchline in bad jokes. She saw a future where love like mine wasn't a scandal, but a celebration. You gonna tell her no? He shifted, sweat beading on his brow, but I pressed on, pulling out faded photos from my bag. Grandma arm in arm with a woman in sepia tones, their smiles defiant against a black and white world. She had her own secrets here, Mr. Ellis. Women who loved quiet and deep. This sin isn't yours to gatekeep. It's a witness to all kinds of hearts. He stared at the images, color draining from his face, then nodded slowly. Eleanor. She worked summers here in the 40s. Never knew. The pieces clicked. Grandma's untold story. The flapper ghosts in her albums. By noon, the contract was signed, the ballroom ours, with a clause shielding it from interference. As I drove back, sun breaking through clouds, Jamie's text lit my phone. Found the perfect dress. Can't wait to meet you at the altar. The weeks blurred into a whirlwind of invitations and rehearsals, but tension simmered beneath the joy. Harbor's Edge buzzed with division. Yard signs sprouting like weeds, keep pines pure, and counterpetitions from old friends who'd bloomed under Grandma's influence. Jamie and I stole moments of sanity. Picnics on our roof deck, where she'd sketch our vows into mandalas of interlocking hearts, or slow dances in the living room to Ella Fitzgerald, her breath warm against my neck. You're my anchor, Nadia, she'd murmur, and I'd reply, and you're my wild sea. Yet doubt gnawed, especially when a brick shattered our front window 2 nights before the wedding, shards glittering like cruel stars, a note inside, sinners not welcome. Police called it a prank. I called it war. Jamie patched the glass with trembling hands, but that night, as we lay awake, she confessed, I'm scared. Not of the hate, but of us breaking under it. I pulled her close, our heartbeats sinking like a shared pulse. We won't. Grandma built this bridge. We'll cross it together. The eve of the wedding dawned crisp, October's chill carrying the scent of pine and possibility. Guests arrived in waves, college friends with rainbow boutonnieres, Portland allies bearing cakes frosted in edible gold, even Jamie's mother, tentative but present, her hug to me fierce and wordless. Uncle Ray showed, grumbling but dapper in a suit, slipping me a vintage locket, Grandma's, engraved with love wins quiet wars. As twilight painted the sky indigo, I stood in the inn's bridal suite, a room of lace curtains and sea-glass lamps that Grandma had once called her sanctuary. My gown, ivory silk with lace sleeves like whispered secrets, clung soft as a promise. Jamie waited downstairs, her dress a cascade of sapphire blue evoking midnight waves. The mirror reflected not just me, but echoes, the girl who'd hidden crushes in diary pages, the woman who'd chosen authenticity over ease. The ceremony began under a canopy of strung lights in the ballroom, waves audible through open French doors like nature's applause. 100 souls filled the space, queer and straight, young and weathered, a tapestry Grandma would have woven herself. Vows exchanged, hands trembling. Mine, a litany of history's resilient loves. Jamie's, a poem of colors blending into forever. Rings slid on, simple bands etched with vines, sealing us as one. Then, the toast, Uncle Ray rising, voice gravelly. Eleanor always said this place held magic. Turns out, she planted it for you too. He raised his glass, and the room followed, cheers swelling as if the chandeliers hummed along. Outside, protesters gathered at the gates, their chants muffled by joy, but inside, love roared louder. As we danced our first as wives, Jamie twirling me under the lights, her laughter a melody, I felt Grandma's presence, not as ghost but guardian. The hotel hadn't refused us. It had been waiting, redeemed by a love foreseen. In that moment, amid the clique of flashbulbs and the salt-tang air, I knew. Our story wasn't defiance alone, but grace, the human heart's quiet insistence that love, in all its forms, endures. The reception spilled into the inn's gardens like starlight on water, fairy lights twinkling against the encroaching night, laughter weaving through the rustle of autumn leaves. Jamie and I moved among our guests, her hand warm in mine, a constant reminder that this victory was tangible, etched in the curve of her smile and the way her dress caught the breeze like a sail. But beneath the revelry, a current of unease stirred, whispers from the edges, eyes darting toward the perimeter where shadows of dissent lingered beyond the hedges. It started with a phone call during the cake cutting, the knife slicing through layers of vanilla and lemon as if parting old wounds. My phone buzzed insistently in my bouquet clutch, Uncle Ray's number flashing like a warning. I stepped aside, the crowd's cheers fading to a hum, and answered. Nadia, get security to the East Gate.
Now.
His voice was tight, edged with the authority of a man who'd captained fishing boats through nor'easters. Heart slamming, I signaled the off-duty cops we'd hired, precautions born of that shattered window, and wove through the throng to Jamie, murmuring the alert. Her face tightened, but she nodded, squeezing my fingers. We've got this. Together. We reached the gate as the first shouts pierced the night. A dozen locals, faces twisted in righteous fury, signs bobbing like buoys in a storm. God hates this abomination. Defend tradition. Leading them was Harlan Voss, the town's self-appointed moral compass, a retired mill owner whose sermons at the Baptist church had once driven Grandma to boycott his lumberyard. Harlan's eyes locked on me through the wrought iron bars, his bullhorn amplifying venom. This inn was built on Christian ground. You're spitting on Eleanor's memory. The irony burned, as if Grandma, with her hidden photographs and prophetic booking, hadn't been the queerest soul in Harbor's Edge. Security formed a line, polite but firm, as our guests clustered behind, a rainbow shield of solidarity. One friend, a burly tattoo artist from Portland, yelled back, Eleanor's the one who made this happen, you fossils. Read the damn lease. The standoff stretched taut, minutes feeling like hours, the party's music a defiant underscore. Jamie stood beside me, her presence a bulwark, but I saw the flicker of fear in her eyes, the same she'd worn at 16, coming out to a father who chose doctrine over daughter. Nadia, she breathed, if they breach. I turned, cupping her face, thumbs brushing her cheeks. They won't. This is our night. Grandma's gift. And as if invoked, a figure emerged from the inside door. The manager, Mr. Ellis, clipboard in hand, flanked by 2 board members. Ellis cleared his throat into a megaphone of his own, voice amplified but steady. Harlan, folks, this event is sanctioned. Eleanor Hayes secured this space legally, decades back. Interfering now? That's trespassing, and we'll press charges. Murmurs rippled through the protesters. Harlan's face purpled, but cracks showed, neighbors glancing away, one woman lowering her sign, whispering to another, "Eleanor's booking?" She was one of us. The crowd thinned like mist under sun. Harlan's parting shot snarled, "You'll regret this." But the gate held. Back inside, applause greeted us, like heroes returning from battle. Toasts flowed anew, this time laced with tales of Grandma's legend, how she'd smuggled hooch during Prohibition, outwitted tax men with charm, loved fiercely in shadows. Jamie's mother approached then, tentative steps across the parquet floor, her eyes red-rimmed. I was wrong," she said, voice breaking as she enveloped Jamie in a hug that mended years of silence. "Seeing you here, so radiant, it's what a mother dreams." Jamie dissolved into her, and I stepped back, giving them space, my own tears a quiet river. Later, as the band played a slow rendition of At Last, Jamie and I swayed on the dance floor, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces worn smooth by time. "Think she'll approve?" Jamie asked, nodding toward the ether where Grandma might watch. I smiled, tracing the line of her jaw. "She already does. This whole thing, her yes." The night deepened, guests departing with hugs and promises of visits, until it was just us, the inn's halls echoing soft. We slipped away to the bridal suite, the door clicking shut like a vow sealed. Moonlight slanted through lace curtains, casting patterns on the four-poster bed piled with rose petals. Jamie's hands found the zipper of my gown, slow and reverent, peeling silk from skin, as if unwrapping a sacred text. "Mrs. Riley Hayes," she murmured, lips brushing my collarbone. "Or is it Hayes Riley? Either way, you're mine." Laughter bubbled between kisses, turning to gasps as we explored familiar territories with newlywed hunger, her fingers mapping constellations on my hips, my mouth charting the valleys of her throat. In the afterglow, tangled in sheets scented with salt and lavender, doubts resurfaced like tide pools at low water. "What now?" I whispered, head on her chest, heartbeat a lullaby. The world's still out there, with its Harlans and broken windows. Jamie's fingers combed my hair, voice a soothing cadence. "We build, like your exhibits, like my sketches, layer by layer, until the beauty outshines the cracks." Sleep claimed us then, dreams woven with visions of Grandma, young and bold, dancing in the same room with her own beloved, their laughter a bridge across generations. Morning brought hangovers of joy and the practicalities of departure. Brunch in the inn sunroom, mimosas fizzing, eggs Benedict steaming, doubled as a strategy session. Uncle Ray, nursing coffee, slid over a folder. Eleanor's will had contingencies. "If the town balks, there's a trust for renovations. Make this place a haven for all weddings." His eyes twinkled, the gruff exterior cracking to reveal pride. "She knew you'd fight for it." Jamie and I spent the day wandering Harbor's Edge, hand in hand down Main Street, testing the waters. Shopkeepers nodded warily, but a few smiled outright. The baker who'd supplied our cake pressing a loaf into our arms. "For the road." "Congrats, ladies." At the lighthouse, we climbed the spiral stairs, wind whipping our scarves, and etched our initials into the railing's rust patina, N+J, forever. From the top, the town sprawled vulnerable, a patchwork of hurts and hopes, and I vowed silently to curate its stories, not the hate, but the hidden loves that had always pulsed beneath. Back in Portland by evening, our bungalow welcomed us with unpacked boxes and the hum of normalcy. But the wedding's echo lingered, prompting calls from journalists. Queer couple triumphs over bigoted in details? We demurred at first, but Jamie, ever the artist, saw potential. "Let's tell it," she said over wine that night. "Not as victims, but victors. Grandma's story, ours. Make it a mural for the world." Collaborating became our honeymoon ritual, me digging into archives for Grandma's era, unearthing letters hinting at her lover, a jazz singer named Vivian who'd vanished after a raid on an underground club. Jamie illustrated, her pencils breathing life into sepia ghosts, two women in fedoras, hands linked under street lamps. The exhibit pitch to the museum landed like a thunderclap. Echoes of defiance, love's long arc in the Pacific Northwest. Opening night 3 months later was electric, the gallery thrumming with patrons, queer youth wide-eyed at the panels blending our wedding photos with Grandma's artifacts. Harlan even showed, uninvited, but stayed silent, gaze lingering on Vivian's portrait. As Jamie and I cut the ribbon, her whisper in my ear. We did it. Rewrote the stars. Pride swelled, but so did the deeper truth. Love's work was endless, a daily defiance. Yet challenges loomed, subtle as fog. Jamie's freelance dried up when a conservative client spotted our wedding in the news, citing brand misalignment. My exhibit drew hate mail, anonymous tips to the board about pushing agendas. Nights, we'd rally with takeout and true crime docs, but the strain etched lines around our eyes. One evening, as rain lashed the windows, Jamie broke. Am I enough? When the world chips away. I pulled her into my lap. Fierce. More than. You're the plot twist that saved the story. Winter brought solace in small measures. A holiday card from Jamie's mom, enclosing tickets to a Seattle symphony, snowshoeing in the Cascades, where we built a queer snow family, complete with tiny flags. And letters, dozens from folks inspired by our tale, sharing their own closets and comings out. One, from a teen in rural Idaho. Your wedding gave me courage. Thank you. Reading it aloud, tears streaming, we clung tighter, knowing our light pierced farther than we'd dreamed. Spring thawed the ice, and with it, opportunity. The pines called. Ellis, contrite, proposing a partnership. Weddings for all, in Eleanor's honor. We flew down, touring the ballroom reborn with fresh flowers and inclusive plaques. Signing the deal felt like closing a circle, Grandma's reservation evolving into a beacon. But life's plot twisted anew when Jamie missed her period, a rare slip in our meticulous planning. The test's 2 lines stared back like a dare. Pregnant, I echoed, joy and terror colliding. Adoption had been our vague future, but biology? Via donor, yes, but this, her body, our love's alchemy. Doctor confirmed, 8 weeks healthy. Our family, Jamie said, hand on her still flat belly, growing the revolution from within. News spread, eliciting cheers and concerns. Uncle Ray sent cigars, we laughed, donated them. My museum colleagues threw a shower with books on queer parenting. Yet shadows lingered. Harlan's faction petitioning to revoke the IN's license, dredging up moral clauses. We countered with a fundraiser, Pines for All, raising funds through stories, ours, Grandma's, others. The community split, but allies multiplied, town hall erupting in debates that aired wounds long festering. Through it, Jamie bloomed, her sketches turning maternal, cradles entwined with rainbows. I curated a companion exhibit, Hearts Unbound, featuring family narratives across spectra. Mornings, I'd brew ginger tea for her nausea, evenings read aloud from baby-named books, echoes of Vivian, nods to Eleanor. Labor came fierce on a stormy July night, contractions syncing with thunder. Portland General buzzed as we arrived, Jamie's grip iron on mine. Ours blurred into primal symphony. Her cries, my encouragements, doctor's calm directives. At 3:17 a.m., under fluorescence harsh as spotlights, our daughter arrived. Eleanor Vivian Riley Hayes, 7 pounds of wrinkled wonder, wailing like a siren's call to new beginnings. Holding her slick form, Jamie wept. She's perfect. Our miracle. I kissed her forehead, then the baby's, whispering, welcome to the fight, little one. But mostly to the love. Ellie's first months were a blur of midnight feedings and dawn discoveries, her tiny fists clutching our fingers as if anchoring us to this expanded universe. Jamie, radiant in exhaustion, nursed her by the window, city lights twinkling like conspirators, while I paced with lullabies cribbed from folk tunes Grandma favored. Our bungalow morphed into a nest, bassinet in the corner, walls papered with Jamie's murals of whimsical forests where queer creatures romped free. Sleeplessness bonded us deeper, confessions spilling in the witching hour, fears of failing her, joys in her gummy smiles. Yet the world intruded as it does. A month in, the mail brought a summons. Harlan Voss suing the Pines Inn for breach of covenant, claiming Grandma's booking fraudulent, a deceptive act against town bylaws. Ellis called frantic. They've got lawyers from the city, Nadia. Digging into Eleanor's past, saying Vivian was a scandal. My blood ran cold. If they invalidated the reservation, our partnership crumbled, the haven we'd built reduced to rubble. Jamie, rocking Ellie, met my gaze over the babe's downy head. Fight it. For her, for all the kids who'll need places like this. We hired counsel, a sharp queer attorney from San Francisco named Lena, who pored over documents like a detective unraveling a noir plot. This is gold, she crowed, waving Grandma's original contract. Ironclad, with witnesses. And those photos? Exhibit A for motive. They're scared of history repeating. Discovery unearthed treasures. Letters from Vivian, tucked in Grandma's attic trunk I'd claimed after her passing, poetic missives of stolen nights and dreams deferred. My darling Elle, in this world of straight lines, you curve me toward truth. One read, ink faded but passion vivid. Lena's eyes misted. Even she, battle-hardened, felt the pull. We compiled a dossier, not just legal, but human. A timeline of Harbor's Edge's queer underbelly, from speakeasies to secret picnics. Court convened in the county seat, a stuffy hall reeking of polished wood and old grudges. Harlan took the stand first, paunch straining his button down, voice booming biblical thunder. That Hayes woman tricked us. Booked under false pretenses, knowing her inclinations. The judge, a stern woman with silver streaks, arched a brow. Inclinations? Mr. Voss, this is 2026, not 1926. Evidence. Our turn came like a storm surge. I testified, voice steady, recounting summers at the Pines, Grandma's bedtime tales of loves that weather any gale. Jamie followed, Ellie napping in a carrier at her feet, describing the wedding's magic amid menace. It wasn't just vows. It was validation from a place that could have shut us out, but chose legacy over loathing. Then Lena unveiled the letters, projecting them on a screen for all to see, words leaping alive, drawing gasps from the gallery, even Harlan's camp. The kicker, a deposition from an old in hand, now 92, who'd notarized Grandma's booking. Eleanor said, "For my Nadia, when she finds her heart's match. No matter the match." He chuckled, frail but firm. Girl had visions. The judge ruled swift. Case dismissed, with sanctions on Voss for frivolous suit. Cheers erupted. Jamie crushed me in a hug. Ellie's coo the sweetest punctuation. News cycled the win. Queer legacy trumps bigotry in coastal clash, sparking donations that swelled the Pines Fund. We visited soon after, Ellie gurgling in a sling as we toured upgrades, a Eleanor wing for elopements, murals by Jamie depicting intertwined lives. Ellis, redeemed, gifted us a brass plaque. Booked in faith, celebrated in love. Back home, normalcy nested deeper. Ellie's milestones marked our rhythm. First roll at 4 months, to Jamie's delighted squeals, crawling at 7, toppling my stacked books into chaos I cherished. I balanced curating with caregiving, often with Ellie strapped to my chest, her breath syncing with my narrations of ancient scrolls. Jamie's career rebounded, a children's book contract for Rainbow Roots, tales of families like ours. But shadows lingered personal. Jamie's father, absent since her teens, surfaced via email, saw the news.
Proud, maybe. Can we talk?
Her hands shook printing it. Mine steadied them. Your call, love. Boundaries first. They met at a neutral cafe, Ellie as icebreaker, burbling through awkward silences. He didn't apologize outright, but tears fell as he held his granddaughter. I was wrong. Let me learn. It wasn't absolution, but a door cracked, progress in increments. My own ghost stirred when Uncle Ray called, voice thick. Found something in the attic. Eleanor's journal.
For you.
He overnighted it, leather-bound tome arriving like a relic. Pages chronicled her youth. Vivian's laugh, raids that scattered them, a lifetime of quiet mourning after Viv's move to New York. If Nadia reads this, one entry read, near the end, tell her, love like ours isn't loss, it's the light that guides the next. Sobbing, I shared it with Jamie, our read-aloud a ritual, Ellie listening wide-eyed. Summer brought expansion, a Pines festival, hearts unbound, drawing couples from across the states for vow renewals and workshops on inclusive planning. We emceed, Jamie's charisma drawing laughs, my stories weaving threads of history. Ellie toddled on stage, stealing the show, her chubby arms waving like a tiny conductor. Yet crisis brewed domestic. Jamie's postpartum haze deepened into anxiety, nights pacing with Ellie while doubts whispered, am I failing as a mom? As a wife? Therapy became our anchor, sessions unpacking generational trauma, her father's rejection echoing in her fears. I held space, vulnerable in turn. Sometimes I worry I'm too much the fighter, not enough the soft place. Our counselor's words stuck. Love's not perfection, it's persistence. Ellie's first birthday dawned sunny, a backyard bash with balloons and a smash cake that left her face a masterpiece of frosting. Guests toasted, to roots, to wings. As dusk fell, Jamie and I tucked her in, then retreated to the porch swing, wine glasses clinking. 1 year, she mused, head on my shoulder. Feels like eternity and an instant. I kissed her temple. And, the best plot twist yet. Autumn leaves turned the Pacific Northwest into a canvas of fire, mirroring the blaze in our lives as Ellie's second year unfolded with toddler tyranny and tender triumphs. She babbled demands. Mama J. Story. Her dual nomenclature a sweet shorthand for our blended world. Jamie illustrated a board book series inspired by her, Little Echoes, tales of kids discovering their colors, selling out at local shops. I expanded the museum's queer archive, grants flowing for a traveling exhibit that hit Seattle, then Boise, each stop a spark igniting conversations. The Pines thrived under our stewardship, bookings doubling for diverse ceremonies, trans couples by families, even a poly trio whose vows echoed with radical honesty. Ellis confided over coffee one visit, never thought I'd say it, but you're saving this place. Eleanor's smiling. We laughed, but truth lingered. Her secret booking had been the seed, our tending the bloom. Harlan's defeat festered, though. Whispers reached us, his group forming a heritage watch, petitioning state reps for traditional venue protections. Lena warned it was bluster, but vigilance sharpened. Then, a curveball, an offer from a developer to buy the Pines, promising modern upgrades that smelled of sanitization. The board wavered. Ellis called us in crisis. They'll erase the Eleanor wing if we sell. We rallied allies, fundraisers via livestream, where Jamie sketched live portraits of donors, I narrated Grandma's saga. The campaign went viral, Save Pines Love trending, celebrities chiming in with auctioned art. Harlan countered with op-eds in local rags, decrying woke overreach, but public tide turned. Letters to the editor praising our healing of old divides. Amid the fray, family wove tighter. Jamie's dad visited monthly, awkward at first, holding Ellie like fragile china, but warming, teaching her knot tying with fishing line, sharing stories of his logging days. I missed your fire, kid, he told Jamie one evening, eyes downcast. Let me stoke it now. Forgiveness wasn't wholesale, but it grew, roots delving deep. My side bloomed too. Cousins, once emoji only, drove down for Ellie's birthday, bearing quilts stitched with family lore. Uncle Ray retired, gifting us his boat, for sea stories with the wee one. We christened it Viv's Vow, weekend sails becoming sacrament. Ellie in a life vest, pointing at porpoises, Jamie and I stealing kisses amid spray. But Joy's underbelly stirred when Ellie fell ill. Fever spiking to 103, her cries piercing night like arrows. Dash at 2 a.m., doctors swarming with IVs and tests, Jamie's face ashen as she stroked sweat-damp curls. "Hold on, Bean," she begged, while I paced, bargaining with fates unspoken. Meningitis scare, but antibiotics turned the tide. By dawn, color returned to her cheeks. That vigil cracked us open. In the hospital cafe, over stale coffee, Jamie confessed. Seeing her like that, I flashed to losing you both, to the hate winning. I pulled her close, hospital hum a cocoon. It won't. We're the unbreakable line. Grandma to us to her. Recovery at home was slow magic, story hours tripling, cuddles multiplying. Ellie emerging fiercer, her I love yous a bomb. The exhibit tour climaxed in D.C., a Smithsonian tie-in that packed the halls. Standing before echoes of defiance, Ellie on my hip waving at her portrait, a cherub in a crown of vines, I felt the arc bend toward justice. Backlash followed. Trolls doxing our address, a slashed tire on Jamie's bike. We bolstered security, but the toll mounted, sleepless nights, Jamie sketching darker, me curating with guarded heart. Winter solstice brought pivot. At a holiday market, Ellie toddled to a booth selling heirloom seeds, pointing at lavender. Gammas. Inspired, we planted a garden ritual, each bulb a gratitude, for health, for haven, for each other. Snow fell soft as we worked, Ellie knee-deep in dirt, her giggles chasing flakes. New Year dawned with resolve. Lena tipped us, Harlan's group fracturing, members defecting after a leaked recording of his slurs. We extended olive branches, community forums at the Pines, where voices clashed but connected. One night, Harlan showed unannounced, cap in hands. Lost my way, he muttered to Ellis, then to us. Didn't know Eleanor's truth. Sorry don't fix it, but it's start. No hugs, but a nod enough. Ellie's language exploded. Full sentences demanding adventure. We obliged with microtrips. Tide pooling at Cannon Beach, her squeals at Starfish. Forest hikes where Jamie carved our names into fallen logs, Ellie helping with a stick. These escapes recharged, reminding us love's essence was presence, not perfection. Spring heralded growth literal and figurative. Jamie's book tour kicked off, Rainbow Roots, hitting bestseller lists, readings packed with parents seeking mirrors for their kids. I joined for the West Coast leg, Ellie charming crowds with waves. One stop in Harbor's Edge, at the library, felt full circle, locals filling seats, Harlan in the back, applauding quiet. Home again, we uncovered Grandma's journal addendum, a pressed flower from Vivian note. Plant this love, let it spread. We did, seeding a community plot at the museum. Eleanor's meadow, blooms for all to tend. Ellie helped, her tiny hands patting soil, symbol of legacy's handoff. Yet tension simmered when Jamie landed a dream gig, illustrating for a major queer film, shooting in LA for months. Go, I urged, masking ache. Your wings deserve flight. Solo parenting tested, Ellie's tantrums mirroring my loneliness, nights scrolling Jamie's Insta for glimpses of sun-soaked sets. Video calls bridged, her miss you, my anchors echoing, but distance nod. Reunion at LAX was cinematic, Ellie sprinting into arms, me claiming a kiss that tasted of salt and stardust. Never again without you, Jamie vowed, and we renegotiated future gigs with family travel clauses. Summer solstice marked Ellie's third, a beach bash at the Pines, waves lapping vows renewed impromptu. As fireflies danced, Jamie whispered, 3 years of us, infinite more. I believed her, the horizon vast with promise. Ellie's third year spun like a kaleidoscope, patterns shifting from tantrum tempests to tranquil epiphanies, each turn revealing more of the fierce spirit we'd coaxed into being. She declared herself explorer captain, commandeering couch cushions into ships bound for treasure islands, the laundry pile, her commands delivered with Jamie's dramatic flair and my narrative embellishments. We navigated this phase with humor laced with humility, timeouts turning into teachable tales of empathy, her hugs mending the mishaps. Professionally, momentum built. My exhibit secured NEA funding, expanding to virtual reality tours where users walked through Grandma's 1940s rendezvous, Vivian's jazz haunting the code. Jamie's film illustrations debuted at Sundance, earning raves for tender subversion, the director crediting her lived authenticity. Accolades buoyed us, but so did the grassroots. School visits where Ellie tagged along, charming teachers into inclusive library corners. The Pines evolved into a nexus, hosting legacy weekends, story circles for elders sharing hidden histories, youth workshops on allyship. One event, a panel with Harlan, reformed if tentative, drew record crowds. His admission, "I was blind to my neighbor's pains," earned cautious claps, a bridge beam by beam. Family filament strengthened. Jamie's dad, now Papa Jack, crafted Ellie a wooden ark of animal blocks, weekends fishing where he'd once preached judgment. My cousins formed a Hayes Horde chat, planning annual reunions at the inn. Uncle Ray, post-retirement wanderlust sated, volunteered as docent for the meadow, regaling visitors with Eleanor's tall tales, mostly true. But undercurrents churned when Ellie started preschool, her backpack bulging with crayons and curiosities. Drop-offs were daggers, her clingy waves twisting my gut. Jamie's pep talks our shield. "She's learning independence," she'd say, but we'd debrief over coffee, unpacking parental paranoia. First parent-teacher conference glowed. Ellie's a natural connector, shares toys, asks big questions. Relief washed, mingled with pride. Crisis crested mid-fall, a nor'easter slamming the coast, flooding harbor's edge. The Pines teetered, basement pumps failing, ballroom waterlogged. Ellis's SOS came at midnight. Lost everything. The wing, the archives. We mobilized. Portland crew caravanning supplies, Jamie sketching rebuild rainbow, posters that went viral. Ellie, sensing urgency, drew helpers, squiggles of stick figures with hearts. On site, mud to our elbows, we salvaged. Grandma's plaque, warped but whole. Vivian's letters, ink running but readable. Harlan arrived with sandbags, grunting, "Can't let her legacy drown." By week's end, FEMA aid flowed, community barn raise style, hammers swinging in rhythm to playlists of empowering anthems. Ellie supervised, perched on Ray's shoulders, her cheers the true mortar. Recovery forged unbreakable bonds. The storm's silver lining, a redesigned wing, solar-powered and storm-resilient, with a Vivian vault for artifacts. Grand reopening featured Ellie's ribbon cut, her little shears snipping with glee, symbolizing renewal. Winter whispered introspection. Holidays at the bungalow. Tree trimmed with queer icons, Harvey milk ornaments, Marcia P. Johnson stars, feasts blending traditions, Jamie's lax with my clam chowder. Ellie helped bake, flour-dusted imp, her gifts, macaroni art masterpieces. A quiet revelation came New Year's, Jamie and I slipping away post-bedtime, champagne bubbling. "Want another?" she asked, eyes sparkling. The idea had simmered, Ellie craving a sibling, our hearts roomy. We dove in, donor selected with care, conceptions a hopeful gamble. Spring brought confirmation. Pregnant again. Ellie, upon hearing, patted Jamie's belly. "Baby sister. 4 adventures." Gender unknown, but excitement universal. Maternity bloomed Jamie differently, cravings for pickles and poetry, sketches surreal with maternal motifs. Exhibit tour extended to Europe, but we opted virtual cameos, prioritizing nest building. Nursery prep became project. Walls painted in soft galaxies, crib carved by Papa Jack. Ellie's big sis roleplay charmed, doll feeding vigils, vows to protect. Storm 2 struck metaphorical, Online trolls, emboldened by election year rhetoric, targeted our family. Hashtags like Pines pervert trended briefly, death threats pinging inboxes. Lena filed reports, but the venom seeped, Jamie flinching at notifications, me rage scrolling into insomnia. Ellie, oblivious, asked, "Why mad faces, Mama N?" We countered with Creation, a podcast, threads of defiance, interviewing survivors of hate. Harlan even guested, his story of reckoning raw. Listeners surged, sponsors followed, turning poison to purpose. Summer solstice heralded the babe's arrival, a home birth under midwife's watch, Ellie assisting with towels. Labor's crescendo peaked at sunset, cries mingling with gulls as Vivian Rose entered. Named for ghosts and gardens, 5 pounds of petal-soft fury. Ellie peered, awed. Tiny treasure. Jamie, spent but shining, gathered us close. Our constellation grows. Nights blurred into tandem feeds, tag team sleeps, but love multiplied, not divided. Ellie's songs for Vivi a symphony of siblinghood. Fall's harvest felt abundant. Twins in tow, Ellie helping, hilariously. We reaped Pine's first family legacy retreat, multi-gen gatherings sharing heirlooms. Harlan volunteered, reading to kids from Rainbow Roots, his gravel voice gentle. Yet growth's pangs persisted. Jamie's postpartum dipped darker, hormones haywire, whispers of inadequacy amplifying. Therapy tandem, unpacking superwoman syndrome, reclaiming rest as resistance. I joined, airing my archivist anxiety, hoarding stories to control chaos. Sessions surface strengths, our tag team tenacity. Ellie's fourth dawned epic. Pirate party at the beach, Vivi in a sling as mascot. Cake smash devolved to sandcastle siege, laughter echoing waves. As dusk fell, Jamie and I watched our girls, hands entwined. From refusal to this, she marveled. Grandma's grandest plot. Vivi's infancy intertwined with Ellie's preschool prowess, our home a harmonious hullabaloo of babbles and block towers, sippy cups clinking like toasts to toddlerdom. Ellie, self-appointed Captain Commander, orchestrated playdates with military precision, Vivi her loyal first mate, gurgling approval at every decree. Jamie and I traded shifts like seasoned sailors, me mornings at the museum, her afternoons illustrating from a home studio scented with crayons and coffee, our sync a well-oiled waltz born of trial and triumph. Career currents swelled. Threads of defiance, podcast snagged a Peabody nod, episodes downloaded by the millions, fan mail flooding with "You gave me words for my silence." I curated a companion installation at MoMA, shipping artifacts east, Grandma's journal, Jamie's originals, even Ellie's scribbles framed as future narratives. Opening night streamed live, our family toasting via Zoom, Ellie waving wildly, Vivi drooling on the iPad. The Pines pulsed as cultural hub, legacy weekends, evolving to include artist residencies, queer creators bunking in the Eleanor Wing, emerging murals on the boathouse. Harlan, now Uncle H to some kids, led birdwatching tours, his binoculars spotting not just ospreys but olive branches. One retreat, a trans elder shared Vivian's long-lost recording, a smoky jazz standard unearthed in a Harlem archive, blasting through speakers as tears flowed free. Family fabric frilled fuller. Papa Jack relocated south, closer for weekends, crafting grandpa gadgets like wind-up storytellers that spun Eleanor's yarns. My cousins hosted Hayes Heritage potlucks, Vivi teething on cornbread, Ellie leading ghost hunts for Vivian's spirit. Uncle Ray, ever the salty sage, gifted a trust fund for the girls' rebellions, winking as he signed. But balance's beam tilted when Jamie's editor pitched a graphic novel, Love's Ledger, our story serialized, with Hollywood sniffing for adaptation. "It's us," she said, excitement edged with exposure fears. Raw, real, could change hearts. I backed her, but caveats. Pseudonyms for the kids, veto power on scenes. Contracts signed, she dove deep, Nights at the drafting table, emerging bleary but brilliant. Ellie's kindergarten plunge plunged us into new depths, backpack battles, bus line jitters, her big kid badge pinned proud. First day drop-off, tears from all, her wave brave as a Viking's. Pickup tails tumbled. We learned colors and kindness, absorbing like a sponge the world's wonders and woes. Crisis coiled in spring, a moral majority revival fanning flames coast to coast, targeting venues like the Pines with boycotts. Harlan defected publicly, op-ed in the Harbor Herald. I stood with wrong side, time to switch. Backlash boomeranged, his truck vandalized, anonymous calls. We rallied round, community watch, legal aid from Lena, his thanks gruff. Oh, you girls. Full circle. Vivi's milestones mirrored. First steps wobbling to Ellie's cheers. First word, sissy. Melting us. Nights, we'd pile in the rocker. Jamie reading from her drafts. Voices layering love's lexicon. Summer scorched with opportunity. A Pines Film Fest. Screenings of queer indies under stars. Ellie and Vivi in PJs, munching popcorn. Jamie's novel teaser dropped. Pre-orders soaring. Buzz building to adaptation talks. Studio execs flew up, whining us at a waterfront bistro. Your story's gold. Defiance, legacy, heart. We haggled fierce. Creative control, diverse cast, emerging empowered. Fall frosted with family expansion whispers. Over pumpkin pie, Jamie mused. 3? Or Foster? Ellie piped. More crew. We explored, hearts open to paths unfolding. But shadow loomed large. Jamie's novel leak. Early pages twisted by tabloids into salacious scandal. Headlines screamed lesbian legacy or lustfest. Clickbait carving caricatures. Hate mail spiked. School pickup stares sharpened. Jamie spiraled. Drafts discarded. If it hurts you, the girls. I salvaged, rallying her. This is the fight. Truth over torsion. Lena sued for defamation. Settlement swift with retractions. The Silver. Sales skyrocketed. Authentic fans amplifying. Adaptation greenlit. Jamie scripting beats. Me consulting history. Winter wrapped us warm. Holidays amplified. Solstice circle at the meadow. Lanterns lit for lost loves. Ellie reciting kindness creed. Christmas morn, Vivi's ho-ho, echoing as she unwrapped a dollhouse, family of all kinds. New Year birth resolve. Therapy for the collective, unpacking leaks lashes. Ellie's school project, My Heroes, featured us, pasted with pride on the fridge. Spring bloomed bold. Vivi's first birthday, garden gala, cake a lavender layer nodding to grandma. As she smashed, frosting fisted, Jamie leaned in. Another chapter? Tests confirmed. Boy en route, due fall. Ellie danced. Brother pirate. Exhibit repatriated. Momo loan extended. Podcast Season 3 launched with Harlan's episode. Ratings record. Summer sailed smooth. Beach weeks at the Pines. Kids castle building. Jamie and I sunset strolling. Hands linked. Novel released to acclaim. A tapestry of tenacity. Film casting calls buzzing. Crisis crested mild. Ellie's playground tussle over 2 moms. Her retort. Love's not math. Home with a bruise, but backbone intact. We debriefed, reinforcing. Your family's fabulous. Fall's harvest. Baby shower at the inn. Rainbow streamers swaying. Labor lightning struck October Eve. Storm raging as Rowan Jack arrived. Robust, red-faced, roaring. Ellie bossed the docks. Vivi cooed. Jamie beamed. Our trinity complete. Nights newborn nested, but dawn brought dawnings. 3 kids, careers cresting, love's ledger balanced in abundance. Rowan's arrival rippled our rhythms into richer chaos, his lusty cries a bass counterpoint to Vivi's velvety vowels and Ellie's eloquent edicts. The bungalow brimmed, bassinet squeezed beside the rocker, laundry a perpetual landmark. Jamie and I mastered the maternal minuet, tag teams through teething and tantrums, coffee ivies fueling the fray, our glances across the fray, a private polka of partnership. Ellie, now kindergarten sage, scripted family plays starring her siblings as brave explorers. Rowan, the tiny treasure map. Vivi echoed, toddling tandem, her WOW, a universal solvent. Nights normalized to naptime novels, Jamie's graphic novel sequel percolating amid midnight musings. Professional waves crested high. The film, Vows echo, cast queer leads, non-binary director, diverse crew, pre-production humming. Jamie consulted sets, her authenticity, the alchemist's touch. My archive anchored authenticity, lending props, grandma's locket, journal facsimile. Podcast pivoted to parenting defiance, episodes on raising rebels in reactive times. The Pines prospered, family legacy weekends family fueled. Ellie's story time for tots, Vivi's dance-along. Rowan gurgling ambience. Harlan hosted reconciliation rambles, trails where he'd unpack prejudices, hikers nodding in nascent understanding. Extended kin knit closer. Papa Jack built a fortress in the yard, sleepovers under stars where he'd spin seafaring sagas. Cousins caravaned for Rowan's baptism, secular splash at the beach, tots tumbling in waves. Uncle Ray's trust vested, for voyages vast. Spring's thawed tensions when Ellie's school curriculum controversy brewed. Family diversity, module met parental pushback, petitions circling. We advocated, PDA testimonies. My historical heft, Jamie's heartfelt sketches. Compromise 1. Opt-in modules, but seeds sown for broader bookshelves. Vivi's second summer spotlighted her spark, potty triumphs toasted with tiny parades, her big girl backpack for preschool previews. Rowan rolled, revealing roguish grins that disarmed diaper dread. Crisis curled in summer swelter. Wildfire smoke choking skies, evac alerts pinging as blazes licked Cascades' edges. We bugged out to the coast, Pines a refuge, kids wide-eyed at smoke monsters. Ellis hosted evacuees, ballroom bunked with cots and care packages. Post-flame, rebuild brigades formed, our family hauling supplies, Ellie's fire ferry drawings donated. Fall frosted with film frenzy. Table reads in LA, Jamie and I jetting sans kids grandpa rotation, script scrutinized for soul. Your story's spine, the director said, hugging tight. Back, buzz built. Trailer tease trended, defiant romance reimagined. Rowan's baptismal waves waned into winter wonder. Solstice sing-alongs, kids in antlers caroling Silent Night with queer twists. Christmas chaos. Paper shreds snowing. Rowan's first ho-ho, a hiccuped hoot. New Year's nucleus. Jamie's pregnancy ponder paused for four's enough frenzy, but fostering flickered, short-term spots for kinship care. Training commenced, home study highlighting our resilient relational model. Ellie's first school play, The Rainbow Parade, cast her as Hope Herald. Lines lisped with love. Dress rehearsal, standing ovation from siblings, our hearts hammy. Spring showered sequels, podcast Emmy buzz, exhibit Emmy adjacent. Vivi's preschool plunge, tears at gate, triumphs in tales of friend feasts. Crisis cooed covert, Rowan's reflux riot, colic concerts at 3 a.m. Jamie's exhaustion echoed old anxieties, but we wove wellness, weaves of walks, whispered affirmations. Pediatric pivot, drops and diets dousing the din. Summer sailed to set visits, kids cameo ing as extras, Ellie's adlibs stealing scenes. Trailer drop, viral vortex, vows echoing our own. Fall's foliage framed fostering debut, a sibling duo, ages 5 and 7, temporary treasures, with trauma's tender touch. Ellie mentored, Vivi mirrored, Rowan reached, our home a haven honing healing. Film premiere loomed luminous, red carpet in Portland, family freeze. As credits rolled, our names woven in, tears streamed, applause thundering. QM. Loves the hero, Jamie said, hand in mine. Always was. Post-fest fallout. Foster kids bio mom stabilized, reunification bittersweet. We plant don't possess. I reminded the girls, their hugs healing. Winter wrapped with wonder. Ellie's holiday concert, Vivi's verse, gibberish gold, Rowan's rolling reindeer rug races. As year waned, Jamie sketched our saga's sequel. Echoes eternal. From refusal to this riot, she grinned. I kissed her ink-stained brow. Plot perfected. The Foster foray flowered into fuller family ethos, our home a revolving hearth for hearts in flux, brief borders becoming bonds, teaching tenderness alongside the tumult. Ellie's welcome wizardry wooed wary arrivals with welcome wagons of drawings and donuts. Vivi's vicarious cuddles coaxed smiles. Rowan's rollicking gurgles grounded the gravity. Jamie and I journal journeys, foster files chronicling not just care, but catalyzed growth, our patience polished, prejudices peeled. Ellie's elementary ascent amplified advocacy, class council rep, campaigning for Kindness Corner cubbies stocked with storybooks starring all sorts. Her stump speech, delivered dockside at a family picnic. Families fit like puzzles, every piece perfect. Earned ice cream accolades. Vivi vaulted into verbosity, her why whirlwinds, whipping us into whimsical explanations, from why waves whisper to why weddings welcome all. Rowan's rambunctious romps rivaled, his da-da declarations delighting, though diapered dashes demanded dexterity. Career cascades continued. Val's echo, Oscar buzzed, nominations nodding to narrative nuance, Best Adapted Screenplay for Jamie's input, Supporting Actress for The Grandma Surrogate. Red Carpet Redux, Kids in Mini Tuxes, Ellie's Mommy's Movie, Mantra Mesmerizing Media. Podcast peaked with a White House panel on storytelling for social change, us zooming from the nursery, Rowan's Coos comic relief. Exhibit eternalized at the Smithsonian, a defiance diptych with our wing. The Pines Pinnacle, Eleanor Endowment, scholarships for queer youth hospitality training, Harlan headlining fundraisers, his From Foe to Friend, arc a redemption reel. Kinship knit unbreakable. Papa Jack's Legacy Longboat launched, family flotillas fishing tales from fog. Cousins co-hosted Hayes Haven camps at the inn, tots treasure hunting for hidden hearts, buried baubles with love notes. Spring Symphony, Foster Flow Study, a teen placement, 16-year-old Kai, trans and tentative, testing trust. Ellie's empathy eldered her, sister squad solidarity, Jamie mentored makeup, me mapped medical maze. Kai's graduation, GED glory, our collective conquest, her college send-off a tear-tide. Summer scorched with silver screens. Oscars Eve, family flown first class, frocks fabulous. When Whisper, Jamie's speech, for the grandmas who booked the future. Our brood beaming backstage. Fall fostered fortitude when Kai's crisis called, family fallout post-transition, couch crash comeback. We rallied resources, therapy tethers, job jumpstarts. Her you remade my map, note nestled in our nest. Vivi's kindergarten kickoff, backpack battles won, bus bravery budding. Rowan's preschool preview, puzzles prowess, friend finder flair. Crisis crescendoed coastal. Megastorm sequel, pines prepped but pummeled, roof ripped, wing water whipped. Evac echo, but this time, national news narrative. Queer landmark lashed, LGBTQ community, lends lifelines. Donations deluged, rebuild rapid, solar sails, storm shutters, resilience rotunda. Winter's weave, holiday hullabaloo heightened by Kai's cameo, her found family feast carving turkey truths. Solstice stories swapped, Ellie's peace pledge, penned on parchment. New Year's Nexus, Jamie's memoir mused, from refusal to radiance. Foster framework formalized, certified for long-term, hearts hungry for horizons. Ellie's school showcase. Heritage heroes. Her diorama of grandma's ghosts garnering gold stars. Vivi's poem parade. Loves a lighthouse. Bright and bold. Rowan's second. Train-themed, chugging chaos, his choo-choo cheers chortling. Spring showered with shoots. Kai's college commencement card. Anchors away, thanks to you. Foster fresh face. A little one, Lila, latching light. Summer sailed to script school. Jamie teaching graphic narratives at PNCA. Me guesting on legacy lines. Kids camp counseled at the Pines. Ellie's Equity Explorers badge blazing. Fall's fanfare. Storm scars scabbed. Pines Phoenix. Resilient Hearts Gala. Harlan's keynote lessons from the levee. Crisis curled quaint. Rowan's Rosilla Rash. Quarantine quartet. Board games bonded. Monopoly Mama's moniker minted. Winter waltzed with winds. Memoir manuscript mailed. Podcast Peabody procured. Family photo. 5+ Fosters framed in fort. Futures flickering. As year yielded, Jamie and I midnight minuet. Kids slumbering. From hotel no to this yes, she sighed sated. I traced her timeline. Endless encore. Years layered like lighthouse beams, each illuminating legacies lived loud. Our family a fleet forging forward, sails set against shifting seas. Ellie, now tween Titan, tackled middle school maelstrom with manifesto might. Student Senate speeches skewering systemic snubs, her inclusion initiative inking school policy. Vivi, vibrant virtuoso, violin viola virtuoso by 10, her recitals rippling with raw rhythm, notes nodding to Vivian's jazz ghosts. Rowan, rambunctious raconteur, robotics whiz, his contraptions coding compassion, drones dropping kindness kits to isolated elders. Jamie's oeuvre orbited orbits, graphic novels gracing graphic bestseller lists, film franchise flowering, sequels scripting sisterhoods. My museum mandate magnified, Defiance Diaspora a global grant geyser, pop-up exhibits in Paris, pride parades in Sydney, stories shipped like seeds. The Pines Phoenix Perennial, pulsed as pilgrimage, annual Eleanor Emancipation festivals, fusing film, food, folklore, Harlan's harmony hikes now habit his grandkids, irony's offspring, giggling through groves. Foster family flux fluid. Kai King claimed, college cosigner. Lila launched to loving lines. Newcomers nested, our harbor home, handbook helping hands. Kin converged constant. Papa Jack's flotillas fleet-wide, Ray's retirement roving to grandkid gigs. Cousins Hayes Horizon, now hybrid, virtual vigils for far-flung. Spring Spark. Ellie's essay Echoes Unsilenced, essay contest Emmy, published in The Atlantic, From Grandma's Gamble to My Gumption. Vivi's violin victory, youth symphony solo, standing ovations swelling souls. Summer scorched stellar, family fjord cruise, fjords framing fjord deep talks, kids querying queerness, us unpacking unspokens. Pines pool party, floats floating fosters fears. Fall fostered fusion, Rowan's robotics rally robot, resilience rover, rescuing simulated storm survivors, Pines prototype. Crisis crested climate, coastal creep, erosion eating edges. We advocated, Shoreline Sentinels Coalition, lobbying for levees laced with legacy, Pines preserved as poster child. Winter's warmth, memoir movie musical mount, Jamie's libretto, lilting lost to light. Podcast Pantheon, Hall of Fame induction, hologram hugs from heroes. Ellie's bat mitzvah, Jamie's heritage honored, our hybrid holy Torah tales twisted to tolerance, her haftarah loves law. Vivi's voice vespers, Rowan's remix of recitals. New Horizons, another foster fold, teen twins tangoing trust. Jamie's sequel spawn Spark, adoption isle-eyed. Yet zeniths zinged with zephyrs. Quiet quarters, kids' quests quieting our quests. One eve porch perched, Stars stitching skies, Ellie, earbud empire, asked, was the hotel hurt hard? I nodded, narrative nestling. Hurt, but healed by holding on. Vivi violin vanished into virtuoso visions, Rowan robot ruminating revolutions. Jamie sketched stars, I story spun. From refusal's rift to this radiant rift, world mended, one vow at a time. Decades dawned, daughters and son dispersing, Ellie archiving activism in DC, Vivi virtuosing Vienna halls, Rowan robotics in Rwanda. Grandkids gambled, Nana J's, novels naptime narcotics, Mama N's tales tickling imaginations. The Pines, perpetual, hosted our golden vow renewal, silver hairs, steadfast hands, Harlan's heirs as ring-bearers. Vows voiced, through tempests tended, love's ledger leads. Grandma's ghost grinned in gale gusts, her secret booking the spark that scorched shadows, birthing a blaze of belonging. In America's archipelago of aches, we'd carved a cove, where love, lesbian lit, lapped eternal, whispering to waves, we won. Holy. And in that whisper, the world's worth, not perfection, but persistence, not erasure, but echo, humanity's hymn, hummed heart by heart.